Welcome to Healthy Hibbing, a show brought to you by the Hibbing Chemical Health Advisory Committee. Our mission is to promote the wellness of our chemical health through education, prevention, and awareness. My name is Cheryl Bisping, and I am the Community Health Outreach Coordinator for Fairview Range and a member of the Hibbing Chemical Health Advisory Committee. I will be speaking with the principals of the Hibbing schools today. We are going to be talking a little bit about what to expect for this upcoming school year. The principals here for the Hibbing Public Schools are Mr. Berg. He's the principal of the Washington and Greenhaven schools. We have Mr. Bestuel, who's the principal of the Lincoln Elementary School, and Mr. Finko with the Hibbing High School. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks for having us.
I understand it's a really busy time of the year for you guys, especially gearing up for the school year. And I know for parents and teachers as well, parents are trying to get their vacations in with their kids and their back to school shopping and all that good stuff before school starts. But I know the first day of school is coming around the corner. I believe it's Wednesday, September 7th for the schools, for the kids to start in Hibbing. And I know in the past there have been some safety issues around going back to school, pick up and drop off for the kids. So I wanted to bring you on our show and talk to you about that. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Berg. Can you explain the drop off and the pickup procedure at your school?
Sure. Thanks, Cheryl. I guess looking at the map, the yellow would indicate a bus loading or emergency zone drop off or pickup area. The blue will designate designated parking, and red is actually our parent pickup or drop off lane. Okay. So starting at the Greenhaven, parents should enter the northwest parking lot from the south inner drive. It is a one-way lane. They should proceed along the sidewalk, allowing or letting their child exit from the passenger side of the vehicle. Then students will go from there and walk into the cafeteria. We really encourage this lane of traffic to be just that, a flow of traffic, not a parking area. If parents need to park, they can go to one of the designated areas in that parking lot, but this should really be a drop-off only lane. Okay. If they do park there, it impedes the flow of traffic and holds people up, creates dangerous situations. So again, if they need to park, go into the designated parking spots and walk their children into school.
Okay.
Going to the Washington, a similar scenario. The yellow on the map is really our bus loading and drop-off zone and emergency vehicle routes. The blue designates parking for any of our guests, and red again kind of designates that parent flow of parent drop-off and pickup. And they should enter kind of in the northwest parking lot again, coming off of 12th Avenue East, or as it's sometimes called, Brooklyn. And it's a one-way, again, flow through traffic, but stay to the sidewalk side of that lane. Allow the children to get out on the passenger side where the sidewalk is. And again, they will walk into the cafeteria where kids kind of wait until about 8 o'clock or quarter to 8, I should say, and then we start to head out to the playground. But okay. I'll talk about that a little bit more later.
And being patient in those carpool lanes for
very
dropping
much,
off the kids,
very
right?
vigilant, patient. You know, understand everybody's in a hurry, but number one thing is safety.
Right, right. And then how is it at the Lincoln?
At the Lincoln, we have basically 3 designated areas for pickup and drop-off. We also do have at Lincoln, which the primary schools don't, is we do have some kids that bike and walk to school. Our bus pickup and drop-off is the entrance by the cafeteria on 11th Avenue East. All the buses drop off and pick up there. We have that area somewhat patrolled by a teacher that's there watching that, both in the morning and the afternoon. It's a pretty good system. I will say that we do have it down to a pretty good science there, and that works well. The bikers and walkers, they will go out of the auditorium entrance, also on 11th Avenue East.
Okay.
And again, we're getting to see a little larger number, I think, of students that walk and bike to school, which is great. I mean, we're trying to encourage that, and we want to see that. There's obviously some dangers involved in that, and I think in today's world we all know about that, but it's one of those things that, that we do appreciate, and we think it's good for the kids. I think our biggest area of safety is always our parking lot, and that is where we have parent pickup and drop off. With Lincoln growing at a rate that's been pretty phenomenal, I mean, we're over 800 kids right now, that becomes a real serious issue for us, and we do try to patrol that area quite regularly. We have an entrance that's from 23rd or East 23rd Street. That's the entrance into the parking lot. We would like vehicles to stay obviously along the curb, and then they exit on Brooklyn Drive. As BJ said, we like to try to have a flow there. We really don't want to see students or parents parking and waiting for too long, and that's why we try to insist that they have a pretty good plan with their child when he's going to be coming out of the building, so that they can get there and get moving. Also in that area, we do want one row of traffic that is on the curb, and if you do get a curb parking lot, that's fine. If you don't get a curb parking lot, we would really appreciate that you'd park in the parking lot itself, walk across, and then escort your kids to your vehicle before you leave. To us, that's really important, and it's tough at Lincoln because we do have 6th graders and we have 3rd graders, and there's obviously a very large safety factor difference between the two. But we actually would encourage even 6th grade parents to do the same, just so we can keep it all uniform for all of our students. We also this year are going to be looking at the possibility of actually having our teachers park kind of in the back parking areas of that parking lot, so that some of the areas up front will be probably more open, so parents can park a little closer, and that might help their willingness to do that. Again, as BJ said too, safety is our biggest concern, and that area is scary at times. We have 2 teachers out there after school that patrol. A lot of times we do have Officer Townley that comes in and takes a look. When I can be out there, I try to get out there too. But again, we just ask for parents to really be cautionary when they drive through there. Really keep an eye on things. Students at that age can dart out if they think they see someone. And it's just a situation. We want everybody to be very cautious and very much take their time when they go through there.
Understandable. Thank you. Mr. Finko, at the high school, what is the pickup and drop off? And
At the high school, it's far less complicated than at the elementary schools. We ask our parents to drop their students off either on 21st Street, which is the front of the school, or in the Anchor area, and also for the pickup, that's important to be there as well. 7th and 9th Avenue are bus pickup and drop off areas, and we always stress that we need to have that area clear. And we also, excuse me, on the south side of the building where the Anchor is, they can go into the loop for a quick pickup, but if there's a bus in there loading for an extracurricular activity, they're encouraged to stay off that area and stay out on 23rd Street. We also ask parents to stay out of the 9th Avenue court parking area. Our staff parks over there, and as they're moving from their vehicles to the inside of the building, we have had incidents where on the icy pavement and a car coming through, it's been very difficult to not watch somebody coming out from between the cars. And so we ask the parents that they don't go in there at all, just maintain the first 2 spots where 21st and 23rd Street are. The caution that we have about 23rd or 21st Street is, excuse me, there's 2 crosswalks right in front of the school on either side of the front steps. So as they're pulling in and leaving, they have to be very careful to watch for students crossing in those crosswalk areas.
okay, thank you. And speaking of crosswalks, do your schools have patrol crosswalks, and who should use them, and why are they important? We'll start with you, Mr. Byrne.
Sure. At both the Greenhaven and Washington schools, we do have designated crosswalks. The thing with our schools, transportation is available for all K-2 students. That being said, we do have a few parents that walk their children to school. you know, them being so young, we do ask that they accompany their kids to and from school, and that they try and stick to those crosswalks. It's a really busy time of day in the morning and after school, a lot of traffic around our sites. So trying to stay to those areas where they're designated and there's signage, you know, the vehicles that are transporting or going to and from on those roads are actually looking for individuals in, so that helps. But again, all of our kids are offered transportation, so we don't have a lot of walkers, but parents do accompany them.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Mr. or Principal Vestival, with the Lincoln? Are there patrolled intersections?
We actually do have a flag patrol team, and the flag patrol crosswalk is the intersection of 11th Avenue East and 23rd Street. We encourage and actually require all students who are leaving our building and coming in the morning, the flag patrols are in the morning and the afternoon, to go to that crosswalk and use the flag patrols. Even if they're biking, we ask them to walk their bikes there, walk them across the street, and then they can go ahead and get on them and ride from there. So that's really the one area that we really focus on. If a student is coming to school in the morning and they happen to be getting there by the time the flag patrols are out, we ask them to use that crosswalk too for safety concerns.
Yeah, that's a busy intersection there.
It's very busy, and the flag patrols do a great job. You know, we obviously want motorists to be very aware that they're there and why they're there. Every year we have instances where cars do go through our flag patrols or try to go around them, and obviously when that happens we do contact law enforcement and try to get that taken care of. But it is the kids take it very serious, their job there, and it's a very, very serious safety issue. So we're really happy when they take their time and follow those rules.
Thank you. I know just walking in general, I tend to be out in the community walking on my breaks, and the crosswalks can be dangerous in this town, even for adults. So just know if there's a person in the crosswalk, they do have the right of way over a vehicle. So it's a good reminder to say that. Mr. Finko, how about at the high school?
Well, we don't have any controlled areas, but we do encourage all of our students to use the crosswalks. On the south side of the building, our students have the ability to park in the Memorial Building parking lot. So we encourage them, instead of crossing diagonally across the roads, that they go to the corner and use a designated crosswalk, so motorists, including buses, have a fair chance of seeing them. We also have some students that park on, I guess it would be 24th Street, which would be on the other side of the Blessed Sacrament parking lot. And obviously, for a teenager, a shortcut is the quickest way to get to their car, and they buzz across the street, and buses coming around the corner from Assumption have had to maneuver pretty quickly not to hurt someone. So we do encourage all of them to cross at the walk. So we had a tragedy last year with the field trip, and they were in the crosswalks, and like you said, there was somebody still didn't see and didn't yield to the students that were in the crosswalk, and we had an accident, and fortunately the kids were hurt, are now better and back in school, and everything is fine. But if they're all over the streets in Howard Street or on 23rd by the Memorial Building, it's really tough for drivers.
Right, it can be, you know, at school, I've been out there, and it is hard to see students if they're coming between vehicles.
Sure.
But yes, in the crosswalk, pedestrians do have the right of way, so tell your students that if you're out there, parents. Mr. Finko, the high school has some unique issues because you have students that are actually driving age. There isn't a lot of parking around the school, as you mentioned earlier, and so where do students park?
Well, where they should be parking is in the Memorial parking lot, and there's a line painted on the Memorial parking lot that we're supposed to be parking on the east side of this line. And the reason for that is that people who visit the Memorial Building, the veterans that go up for various activities, will be closest to the building to park. So we ask all of our students to park on the east side of this designated line, and they know where it is. It's basically in line with the light poles there. So students are encouraged to park there. Some of them, however, do go up to Howard Street and they park on Howard, and they take their chances with 2-hour parking or whatever it is up there. But our school is very unique in that we're in the middle of a residential area, and we have to be good neighbors for the people who live around us. And And the police are very active in ticketing students that are parked in the residential areas that they're not supposed to. So it's pretty simple for them to get out to the Memorial Building. It's 2 blocks away. Young legs ought to carry them pretty quickly.
Good
So
exercise.
there shouldn't be any violation, but of course there always is.
Yeah, and then visitors or parents that come during the day, there are a couple spots in front of the school as well for them.
There are. We have a designated area where on 21st Street, if they park on the south side of the road, which is closest to the school, then that's sort of our area for substitutes, visitors. There is the 30-minute parking on each side of the steps there. And we ask that parents who are just going to buzz in quick and come out, they could use that area. But if it's for more than an hour, it might be a guest speaker or presenter of some sort. We do have parking passes for our visitors that come also. Okay. So the police have been working with us very carefully not to ticket the people who are supposed to be there, and to kind of keep that area controlled. So we do have some spaces to park.
Okay, thank you. Could you each explain the morning procedures for your students? What time are they allowed in the buildings, and why is that important, and what do they do once they get there? What's your routine for the day? So I'll start with you.
Sure. Thanks, Cheryl. We, at both the elementary K2 sites, we have supervision in our cafeteria starting at 7:30. So parents really shouldn't be dropping off students prior to that. 7:30 is about the time the first bus starts to come in. When those kids come off the bus or parents drop off after 7:30, they kind of go to stage in the cafeteria. Some students are having breakfast, others just visiting. At about 7:45, we try to congregate those students that are done with breakfast and would like to go out for morning recess. So 7:45, they start heading out to recess until about 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is when our day begins. Yeah, for the most part, again, parents shouldn't drop off before that 7:30. If they do, students are unsupervised. So we really encourage to drop off after 7:30 when the first buses start coming.
Thank you for that. Mr. Bestuel, how about at Lincoln?
You know, at Lincoln, it's very similar. We really encourage them not to drop off till 7:30. I'll be honest, we do have a number of parents who maybe work earlier than that and do drop them off. We ask those students to obviously come on inside the building, but wait by the doors until 7:30. If, for instance, a parent had to drop off at 7, generally I'm there, my secretarial staff's there, but that's it. So there's no other supervision in the building until 7:30. So we just ask that they sit there and wait until 7:30, and they're really good about that. At right around 7:30, that's when the cafeteria generally opens up. We do have the breakfast available. At about 7:40, we open up the gym. We actually split the gym down the middle and have the 3rd and 4th on one side, 5th and 6th on the other. All grade levels can go outside and play also. We also beginning last year, had our auditorium open. So some students, if they wanted to go in there with their iPads and do some work, they could do that. And this year, for the first time, we're actually going to have the library also open, so students can go in there and do some work and reading counts and things like that. So we're excited to have that option. It gives us a little bit more freedom for our students. And again, with the large number of students, it's nice to have the extra space. Generally, right around 7:55, we start bringing kids in from the playground and sending them to their classrooms. So usually they get there right around 8, and we're pretty much rolling with things by 5 after 8 or so. So it's kind of our morning routine. Works very well. It runs quite well with the large number of students. It's amazing how actually smooth it does operate, and that's obviously a credit to the teachers and the students. So.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. And Mr. Finko, how about at the high school?
The high school classes start at 8. We allow our students to come in at 7. 4 days a week we have a computer lab available from 6:50 until 7:50 in the morning. If they need to come in and do some research, print some papers, whatever. Now with everyone having iPads, it becomes a little less popular to go in the room, but it is a quiet area where the students can come in. Generally, our cafeteria opens just before 7:30 for breakfast, and the few people that we do get in the building will a lot of times just sit by their lockers and do some work, especially now that we have the Wi-Fi in the building. So we do have the space available under supervision 4 days a week, and we were getting kids 6:30, quarter to 7 as parents were dropping off.
Wow.
And we just were not staffed and prepared for that. So 7 o'clock is the magic time for them, and they come through the front doors, and then we'll accept them in. And you know, and we hate to make anybody wait outside, especially on those cold winter days. So it's really important that parents kind of adhere to that timeline, because they know the kids aren't going to get in.
Right, and we want them to be safe and
Right.
stay warm. Yeah. Thank you. What are the expectations for parents or visitors when they come into your schools during the day? Mr. Berg, can we
Sure.
start with you?
Yeah, basically our doors get locked about 8 o'clock and then reopened at 2:10, with the exception of our main doors. So any parents coming during our school day should really check in at the main entries at both schools and go right to the office. They can sign in there, obtain a visitor's badge, and then go to where they need to go. We get a few parents, even in the mornings, that like to go down to the classrooms and so forth before school starts. We ask that they also check in at the office, obtain a badge, and then go to where they need to go. Just kind of keeping accountability for all individuals in the building. But overall, it's a pretty smooth system. You know, you may enter the building and be wandering down the halls and not have a badge, and you'll probably be asked, you know, have you checked in at the office or not? But they should get a badge to do that, so that individuals within the building know they have the authority to be in student designated areas.
Yeah, very important this day and age.
It
with our
is.
students and security issues.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Vestuel at the Lincoln?
Pretty much the same policy as Mr. Berg. We have, again, all the entrances generally get locked as soon as all the students are in the morning, right around 8 o'clock. All parents, volunteers, workers, everyone's asked to come in the main entrance from that point on and to check in the office, which is nearby there. We have them all sign in, times, dates when they're there. They'll receive visitor passes just like they do at the primary schools. You know, and when they leave, we're asked to come in and sign out also, so we know who is and who isn't in the building. It's a pretty good system. I think right now, obviously, the only thing that would be a little bit better, I know that the primary schools had some work done where when the people walk right into the entrance, they're actually right in basically the sign-in area. And for us, they come in the main entrance, they have to come around the corner and then enter there. So I think down the road when we're looking at updating buildings, that's going to be something we're probably going to take care of at that point in time. But right now the signs are up that they have to check in, and everybody's really good about that. We haven't had any problems that I know of with people not doing that. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Finko, you have a huge school. How does that work?
Well, we have 30 doors in the building, and at 8 o'clock, all the doors are locked except for the front doors by the activities office. And then there's one other door on the east side of the building where students can access the weight room and the auto shop. We do ask people to step in to the office and sign in, and then we have the fortunate ability to have supervisors there for most of the morning. So as people are coming into the building, someone will usually catch up with them and ask them to report to the office, and they do willingly. Our bigger problem is we're a secure building for a school, but we're also a visitor center. People like to come in and tour, and we try to give them an opportunity with one of our staff to take them through the auditorium and the library. But we also have the business office where students are registered, in the district office. Superintendent's office is in our building also. So while you want to keep the building secure for your students, you also have to have that balance of the openness, because it's a community center, it's a historic landmark, and it's also a place where all of our business is conducted to district-wide. So.
Understandable. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
So, I understand that there is a visitation day for students and parents coming up. When is it, and what should parents or students expect to do when they're there?
It's a pretty exciting day. September 6th is our visitation day, and I'll be throughout all of our buildings. But it's an opportunity for us at the K2 for parents to bring their students in. Also bring along all of the school supplies they have, so that kids don't need to carry those in their backpack on the first day of school on the buses or in their cars and so forth. They can kind of get settled into their classrooms, put things away, meet the teacher, meet other staff. fill out any other important school-related information or forms. And we also have things set up on that day where kids can do their class photo or the student photos for the year, so that the parents can have them all dressed up for that day, go into the gym, take their photo. That's all done with. They can fix their hair, make sure their tie's on straight, their dresses look nice. But it's overall just a really nice day for students to feel much more comfortable and confident coming to school the following day.
Okay, thank you. Anything different? We're kind of running out of time, so.
At
anything-
Lincoln, the one thing I'd want to mention is at 8 o'clock, we'll have all of our third graders. We'd like all the third graders and their parents or guardians to be in our auditorium by 8 o'clock. I'll give a little welcome, and then we'll send them out to their classrooms to meet the teachers and to talk to the teachers about what their expectations are for the year. The fourth grade will be at 9 o'clock in the auditorium, fifth grade 10 o'clock, and sixth grade 11 o'clock. So it's really important that everyone that can make it to visitation are there. They'll get some great information there. There'll be a lot of handouts to meet the teachers, things like that. One thing too, a question that does come up, what if I have a third grader and a fifth grader, for instance? Do I have to go to both? I always recommend to go to the younger student's grade, just because usually they're a little more nervous maybe than the older student. They've already gone through it. So I'd ask them to come to the younger student's grade, and then go ahead and stop down and see your older student's teacher too on your way out. And generally, each meeting takes about an hour, and they're out of there then. So that's just a great time to get to know everyone and to kind of get everybody comfortable before the first day.
Okay, thank you. And just a few minutes here left.
Yeah, just the high school is basically the same. Meet your teachers, find your lockers. This year now we're going to be starting with the iPad acceptable use sheets and the permission slips for insurances. So the students and parents can get those forms from the student's first hour teacher. And during that first week of school, they can get those signed, sealed, fees paid, and then on Monday the 12th, we'll be distributing the iPads.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you guys, gentlemen, for being on the show and sharing all this information with us. I just want to remind parents and community members to watch out for the yellow buses and the red flashing lights, and stop for red flashing lights. And to look at our Facebook page and our Healthy Hibbing website. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.